and welcome to this edition of Green Dot Daily. I'm Jason Sobel, your host for this Thursday, October 27th. Reminder, you can catch this show, the Green Dot Daily, every day at noon Eastern time on the Action Network YouTube channel and the Action app. Also a reminder, Green Dot Daily is presented by BetMGM. Use bonus code ACTION50 to get an exclusive new user offer. Get $50 free on sign up, plus a $1,000 risk-free first bet. This is only available for Action users, so start betting today with bonus code ACTION50. Coming up, we have got a great show for you. Sean Koerner and Nick Giffen in just a minute to break down their favorite NFL plays for the whole week, but especially tonight, Thursday Night Football, Ravens at Bucks. Brett McMurphy breaking down. Yes, we're talking bowl games already, positioning for college football. Samantha Previte talking about fantasy prospects for not only tonight, but beyond. Plus, we'll have Charlie DiSturco breaking down MLB, Joe Dellera on NBA, and so much more. Joining me now, the aforementioned Sean Koerner, Director of Predictive Analytics for Action Network, and Nick Giffen, Predictive Analyst. And guys, I'm pumped. It's game day. We got football tonight. Let's go. Sean, let's jump right into it. Last week, you were 9-1 on player props. Look, I won't bring up that one loss there. At least you guys the 9 wins. That's okay, I guess. What are we looking at tonight? I need a pick that says fire is that lid you've got going.
Yeah, so I'm going with Rachaad White over 19.5 rushing yards. He's a talented rookie out of Arizona State. And while he's been very, quiet this season because Leonard Fournette's been healthy for all 7 games so far, he's only cleared this number once this season. But last week was the first time he cleared this number, and he actually led the Buccaneers in rushing yards with 6 carries for 24 yards. And he has been eating into Fournette's role quite a bit lately. So there's a chance White could end up commanding more tonight or even possibly leapfrogging Fournette in the future. So either way, he seems like, a good lock to get probably 4 to 5 carries at least. But, tonight's game, he could get 7 or 8 or more because this is a matchup where the Bucs could show some signs of life running the ball. It seems like a lot of the sharp money is on the Bucs tonight, especially considering, Tampa is probably just getting about 25% of the action, but the line has swung from Tampa Bay plus 1.5 to minus 1.5. So something's going on there. I think they're going to play with the lead for most of the game. That's going to allow them to be a bit more balanced. And tonight, they're facing a Ravens defense that ranks 23rd in DVA against the run. One of the reasons they've struggled against the run this year is they've been without their stud nose tackle, Michael Pierce. He's been on IR. He's one of the best run stuffers in the game. And they're also going to be without Calais Campbell. So this could be a good spot for the Bucs to, get going with the running game, especially with the rookie. So I'm projecting White's median closer to 22.5 yards. So get this while it's still under 20. But also, if you're not able to get it when it's under 20, this is another line similar to Khalil Herbert the other week, where you can get it in game. Probably it'll, drop to 14, 15.5 yards, because I'm not expecting him to get his first touch probably until the third drive or so. So sometimes the market can be kind of lazy with these and, they let it drop to the, 14, 15 range. So I'd also look at, taking this in game as well.
For the viewers out there, if you're somehow not tailing Koerner's props already, if you don't trust him for some weird reason, then you probably do trust Nick Giffen. Nick, I hear you're on the same page this week.
Yeah, I mean, like you just said, if you're not tailing Sean, you should be. 9-1 last week. My pick is to tail Koerner this week. And I was talking to him last night, when we were trying to make our pick for the show. And I said, dude, I'm showing value on these Tampa Bay rushing overs. So my in-game model, if I set it to the beginning of the game, it's showing that there's going to be a higher rushing percentage for Tampa Bay, and they're likely to go over the total number of plays that Sean is projecting. So those are just kind of like leans based off my in-game model. So if Sean's already projecting the rushing game to be very strong, and I'm projecting even more to be very strong, definitely got to go with the rushing game here. So I'm tailing Sean on the Rachaad White pick, 19.5 yards. Let's go over that, and let's pick it in game, just like Sean said.
Yeah, folks, really bad idea to fade these two guys right here. Sean, I want to get to you on your game pick because the public and predictably maybe is looking at the Ravens this week. What are you looking at as this line grows bigger towards Baltimore?
Yeah, so I kind of hinted at that earlier is, it looks like the sharp action is on Tampa here. 75% of the bets have been on Baltimore, and this line has swung 3 points to the Buccaneers side. I think a lot of that has to do with just the injury report on the Ravens side. Rashad Bateman's been banged up. Mark Andrews is definitely banged up. He had his second career game where he had 0 catches last week, and he hasn't practiced, so he's just winging it tonight. And like I said, there's missing some key pieces on defense. They're going to be without Calais Campbell. So I think Tampa Bay bounces back on primetime tonight and pulls out the win.
Giffen, you going 2 for 2? You going to tell him on this one as well?
Yeah, 100%. And I'm going to tease something a little here. Obviously our luck rankings that we're about to talk about, they also really like Tampa Bay as the unluckier team this year. So if there's any market adjustments because Baltimore has outperformed what they've actually done on the field in terms of their win-loss record, Tampa Bay has underperformed more so what they've actually performed on the field. So if there's any little bias there from the bad luck as well, that's being baked in because bettors want to bet the team with maybe a record that's more favorable. Then also we like Tampa Bay for that reason.
So you mentioned the luck rankings there. We've done it for the Action Network where we can look at the luck rankings in NFL. Guys, as you know, I'm a golf guy. I need you guys to let's fix golf. I need the luck rankings in golf. Luck plays a huge part in golf. It plays obviously a big part in the NFL too. And as you look at this graphic so far. 6-1 record going into this week. Does the luck continue?
Well, yeah. So the top 5 and the top 5 luckiest teams right now. The 5th luckiest is the Seahawks. 4th is the Cowboys. 3rd is the Eagles. 2nd's the Titans, and 1st, like you mentioned, remains the Giants. And yeah, you mentioned they're 6-1, and every single one of their games has been a 1-possession game. This is not to say they weren't the best team last Sunday against the Jaguars. Our expected score certainly said they should have won that game, but it's just not sustainable to be an 86%, win rate in 1-score games. So, I think they were an unrated team coming into the season. I have their over 6.5 wins on the year, but this is unsustainable. And I don't think the public has really bought into them quite yet. I think everybody is well aware that they're playing in over their head. So I don't know if there's quite the advantage against the market quite yet with them, but eventually, they're going to regress to the league average of, 50% win rate in 1-score game. So no, this is not sustainable.
Hey, Nick, if signing a overrated quarterback to a $245 million extension is unlucky, then I guess the Denver Broncos are really, really unlucky right now, huh?
Absolutely. They are bottoms in our 5 unluckiest team, which are the Jaguars, the Saints, Cleveland Browns, the Detroit Lions, and as you mentioned, the Denver Broncos have been the unluckiest team in the NFL. And again, this is based off of win-loss record compared to how they've actually performed on the field. Now, they haven't looked amazing, but their record certainly isn't as good as they performed. I keep going back to the first game of the year where they fumbled on the 1-yard line twice in the same game against Seahawks, who are the 5th most luckiest. So certainly been some bad luck there for the Denver Broncos.
Koerner, give me a game this week, week 8, where luck is going to play a factor in that matchup.
So I'm going with the Lions plus 3.5 against the Dolphins. The Lions are the 2nd unluckiest team, as Nick just mentioned, and the Dolphins have been the 10th luckiest. So that's a luck ranking differential of 21. And in any matchup where there's been a luck ranking differential of 16 or more, it's gone 15-6 against the spread. So that's why I'm siding with the Lions here. But the Lions had a pretty brutal loss to the Cowboys last week. They lost 24-6. However, they were a bit unlucky in that game, considering, they lost their best player in Amon-Ra St. Brown very early on. He's expected to play this week. But they also lost a fumble on the 1-inch line. They had 1st and goal on the 1. And as Nick mentioned, you can't really bank on those if you're on the other side. So they've been really unlucky, especially the last couple games. So I think they bounce back here. And 75% of the action's on Miami. So this is definitely a game where the public perception is probably off on both these teams.
Nick, how about you? You looking at a game specifically?
Yeah, I am. I'm actually going a little bit lower in the luck differential. I'm going to go with Arizona plus 3.5 against Minnesota. This is Arizona's 18th in the luck rankings, Minnesota's 7th. So that's an 11-place gap. But even then, a gap of at least 10 plus places is 25-14 against the spread for the unlucky team here. Arizona's been pretty neutral in luck this year. Basically, their record is right in line with how they performed on the field, but Minnesota has been quite lucky. They are 4-0 in one-possession games. Their opponents have the second best field goal percent made, I should say, against. So like they've been missing more field goals against Minnesota than anybody else. The second most in the league, I should say. So they've been really lucky. And I think unlike New York, coaching decisions hasn't been as much of a factor. Like Brian Daboll's made some great coaching decisions. We haven't been seeing that in Minnesota. So I think it's actually much more true luck than even the Giants have had. Additionally, if you look at our pro reports at the Action Network, 4 of the 5 signals are lighting up on Arizona plus 3.5. The only one that's not is we don't have a pro system, but these luck rankings are kind of like a pro system. We just talked about it, 25-14 for the unlucky team against the spread when there's at least a 10 plus differential.
Really like it. Guys, years ago, I interviewed a golfer who had won 2 of his previous 3 starts. And jokingly, I said, well, what happened to that other start? You were in 59th place. And he said, you know what? I played just as well. I just had bad luck. Nothing went into the hole. Folks, luck plays a part in these games, plays a part in all sports. So definitely listen to these luck rankings. Sean Koerner, Nick Giffen, thanks so much, guys, for the insight.
Thanks for having us.
Oh, man, great stuff there. Tonight on the NBA slate, we've got 4 games, 8 teams, only one of them with a winning record. Those are the Memphis Grizzlies. They are at the Sacramento Kings. Let's get to NBA analyst Joe Dellera on tonight's 4-game slate.
My first pick is Luka Doncic under 3.5 turnovers. The reason I like this pick is they're playing the Brooklyn Nets, and the Brooklyn Nets are on the second game of a back-to-back. So they're going to have a little bit of tired legs, and Brooklyn also plays at one of the slowest paces in the league. And this goes along with what the Mavericks do. They play at one of the slower paces in the league, and they have a little bit more of a methodical offense. Part of why I like this pick is Luka, despite his absolutely incredible usage rate, it's like 44.5% this season, which is just unprecedented. He is always in control of himself. He's always in control of the offense. And most importantly, he's always in control of the ball. And with that in mind, he's gone under this line in his past 2 games. He's got turnovers of 4, 3, and 3. But if we look back into last season even, he really does not turn the ball over that much. He's gone under this line in 8 of his last 10 games. And given the fact that we're getting this at plus 105, I love the under 3.5 turnovers. I expect the Mavericks to really eviscerate this Brooklyn Nets defense that doesn't really have an identity, doesn't really have a plan, and Luka is going to be the engine behind that. And I fully expect the Mavericks to play well. I expect them to win, and I expect Luka and his ball control to be a major part of that. So I like under 3.5 turnovers. You guys have heard me. I talk about Tyrese Halliburton all the time and how separating him and De'Aaron Fox was really great, I think, for both of their careers. And one of the things that I like about De'Aaron Fox and the prop that I like for him is for him to go over 36.5 points, rebounds, and assists. He's actually gone over this in 9 of his last 10 games in all 3 games this season with an average PRA of 44.3, and his 3 games this season are 47, 45, and 43 as well. So I expect this to be a fast-paced game. Fox has been cruising over his points total, and he's contributing both rebounds and assists. So I really like this play, and I like the ability of Fox to really lead this offense against a Memphis Grizzlies team who's missing their best defender in Jaren Jackson Jr. So like I said, those are my favorite picks, and best of luck on all your wagers today. Back to you, Jason.
Hey guys, I've got some great news for you. Sometimes life is really, really good. This is one of those times. Starting tonight, we've got live football on your color televisions for the next 27 straight days. Oh boy, I can't wait to help us celebrate and, of course, break down this week's slate. Brett McMurphy, our college football insider. What's going on, Brett? I know we've got some big games this weekend, some games that have rivalries involved and some games that have the potential. I can't believe we're saying this already at this point in the season. It feels like we just started yesterday, but some games this weekend that can shake up the bowl season and the bowl picture. What are we looking at as far as those games?
Yeah, Jason, it's hard to believe we're already past the halfway mark, but the biggest games, probably Tennessee and Kentucky, is as impressive as Tennessee was in beating Alabama. They still have to beat Kentucky and Georgia next week to get to the SEC title game. So they could actually have a win over Alabama and not play in the SEC title game. And obviously that could impact them as far as, will they get to the playoff? Will they be able to get to a New Year's Six game? You know, preferably the Sugar Bowl for Tennessee. That's going to be huge. One other game that's going to have a big implications this weekend, Kansas State and Oklahoma State. Look, the loser of this game is out of the running for the Big 12 championship. TCU has head-to-head wins against both of them, and a loss would give the loser 2 losses in conference play. They would lose the head-to-head matchup, and I think it's very simple for the Big 12. They have 2 chances to get to the college football playoff. And no, it's not slim and none. It's TCU and Oklahoma State. TCU needs to win out. 13-0, Big 12 champ. They will be in the college football playoff. Oklahoma State, 1 loss right now. I see you got the P hat going there, like my boy Ricky Fowler, former Oklahoma State alum. My Cowboys need to win out too. Anything less than a 12-1 Big 12 championship, and they can't make it. They do have a slim chance. It's going to be tough. But Jason, those are the 2 biggest games as far as impacting the major bowls going forward.
And Brett, boy, it feels like Max Duggan and the Frogs are riding that magic carpet ride right now. No, who's not is DJ Uiagalelei, the Clemson quarterback who was benched last week in their win over Syracuse. Brett, did I finally learn how to pronounce his name for nothing? Is he not going to be on the field for the Tigers this week? Obviously, the 5-star freshman Cade Klubnik got in there last week during their victory in the second half. Who is Dabo Swinney going with this week?
Hey, I'm gonna record you saying that, and then I'm just gonna use that every time I have to say it. I've given up. I just call him DJ. But nice job. No, I think, look, Dabo is a very loyal person, and he's going to stick with DJ as long as he can. And I know everyone likes to look at what Klubnik did in the win against Syracuse. Obviously, the team got a lift with him coming in. What did he do specifically? He was 2 of 4 for 19 yards, and he had a penalty called against him when he was out of bounds. That was his biggest impact. Bottom line is, it sparked the team. He will go back to DJ. They're off this week. Then they go at Notre Dame, and kind of a tricky stretch down the final stretch. Louisville, Miami, and South Carolina all at home. But now he knows that he can bring Cade in. But you look at DJ, I think this has kind of been, overlooked. He is vastly improved from last year. He talked about earlier this year at ACC Media Days how much weight he had lost. That was a problem last year. He's hitting 63% of his passes. He's got a 17-4 TD to interception ratio. Last year, he was horrible. 9 touchdown passes, 10 interceptions, 55% completion rate. And then also offensively, last year, Clemson, the 2nd worst offense in the ACC. This year, they've improved over 80 yards a game offensively. It's like everyone wants to get him out of there because of the huge upside with Cade. But Dabo's going to be loyal to DJ. He's going to keep him in there unless he gets in some situation where he feels the team needs a spark. So going forward, I stick with the pronunciation because I still believe DJ's the guy.
Well, I worked on it. I'm going to say it one more time. DJ Uiagalelei. We don't think it's as short of a leash as some people might think. Is that what I'm reading into here, Brett?
Yeah, I don't believe that. I mean, it was, look, Clemson outgained Syracuse by 200 yards. They obviously DJ had the fumble near the goal line. Syracuse returns that 90 yards for a touchdown. That's a 14-point swing right now. I think DJ will be back there. He'll be fine. And I don't, although as much as the media loves to make out these quarterback controversies, I don't see one right now in Clemson.
McMurphy dropping the knowledge. Thanks, buddy. We appreciate it.
You got it.
Well, as I mentioned, coming up 27 straight days of live football on your television. That starts tonight, of course, Thursday Night Football. Ravens at Bucks to break it all down. Samantha Previte from Action Network, our fantasy football analyst. Samantha, big game, but the Ravens backfield has been all over the place, from Dobbins to Edwards to Hill. I might even pick up Jamal Lewis just for insurance right now. What are we looking at for this Ravens backfield tonight?
Yeah, thanks, Jason. So we actually had the chance at a pretty good game, both for fantasy and entertainment purposes. It's the highest point total since week 4. So hopefully we get some good scoring on both sides of the ball. To your point, the Ravens backfield has been kind of a headache this year, but I think that you should start Gus Edwards. Gus Bus is right on schedule and everything we had hoped Kenyon Drake would be. We talked about Gus Edwards as a good waiver wire pickup on Tuesday, and now I have talked myself into starting him tonight. He was phenomenal in his return from the torn ACL in his season debut, finishing as the RB6 in half PPR scoring. Kenyon Drake, complete dud in the game, 11 carries for 5 yards, so absolutely abysmal. I believe that Edwards will be the Ravens running back 1 with J.K. Dobbins on injured reserve. I did have to downgrade him slightly against the Tampa Bay defense, which does rank 10th in rush DVOA. But that said, we have seen a major amount of variance. They actually rank 3rd in variance in DVOA. They allowed 181 rushing yards to the Panthers running backs last week. Both finished top 16 at the position. So I am starting Edwards as an RB3 pretty much with confidence this week.
Yeah, I like that, Samantha. You know he's going to get the goal line carries unless maybe Lamar vultures those carries himself. You know, I recently had an open spot on one of my rosters, and instead of just picking someone up, I actually waived one of my players. I just wanted to send a message to the virtual locker room there. I just wanted to tell guys, like, hey,
you're in timeout
right now. Yeah, a lot of guys in the hot seat. Who's on your hot seat right now?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, I have a couple guys in my hot seat. First of all, in this game, I would say Tom Brady is one that I'm already kind of scared about. I mean, every year we kind of wax poetic about if this will be the year Tom Brady will be in decline, but he was only startable in just 2 games this year. He was awful in week 7 against Carolina. Carolina, the team that has fired their head coach, DC, gotten rid of multiple good players, including Christian McCaffrey. But Tom Brady has 1 multi-touchdown game all year. He is on track for a career low 18 passing touchdowns this year. So I'm sitting him this week. I mean, if he doesn't show up, it's going to be terrible. I would already rather start guys like Tua, Kirk Cousins, Daniel Jones, Geno Smith, Derek Carr. I mean, that's a pretty bad list considering that Tom Brady led the league in passing yards last year. Another guy that's also on my hot seat, kind of in the same vein of maybe a veteran that may be in the decline, a little long in the tooth, Russell Wilson. He has only finished as a top 12 QB once this year in 6 starts, 1 multi-touchdown game. Also, he's the QB 22 on a per game basis, averaging 15 points per game, 5 passing touchdowns all year, on track to only throw 13.3. So that's just not going to cut it for Russell. Let's ride Wilson. Also, the Broncos just ranked dead last in points per game at 14.3. So it's been absolutely abysmal. He's one that I am considering actually dropping if he does not have a good game in London.
Samantha is the resident old guy around here. I feel like I should stick up for my fellow old guys, but I think you're right about that. And by the way, that's the only thing Russell Wilson and I have in common. When I get on a plane, I think I'm going to get a lot of work done. I think I'm going to maybe stretch my quads out. No, I wind up falling asleep and passing out every time. So
Jason, do you clap at the end when the plane lands? Because that's what I'm picturing Russell Wilson is doing.
Yeah, Russell Wilson is the guy that claps. He's the guy that goes right to baggage claim and stands the first guy right in front of it waiting for his bag. No wasted time for Russell Wilson.
I love that.
And really, Phillies in 4, Samantha?
I can't support the Astros. It's anyone but the Astros right now. So yeah.
All right. I'm with anyone but the Phillies. So I'm going to ride with the Astros. Samantha, we thank you. And the World Series does indeed begin with game 1 tomorrow night, Phillies Astros, but it's never too early to bet some potential MVP candidates. Let's get to our MLB analyst, Charlie DiSturco, with some early thoughts on prop betting for the upcoming World Series.
Thanks, Jason. I'm here with 3 of my favorite plays ahead of Game 1 of the World Series on Friday night. They're quick hitters, so stay with me. We'll start with Bryce Harper, plus 150 to out-hit Kyle Tucker. Listen, Bryce Harper is the hottest player on the planet right now. You know that. I know that. A .419 average, 7 multi-hit games in 11 postseason appearances, and has been held hitless just once. Kyle Tucker, on the other hand, just 6 for 28 in the postseason. Harper, better numbers against lefties, better numbers against righties. The favorite, everything favors Bryce Harper here. He should be favored here, but at plus 150, I love this number. The next, Rhys Hoskins to out-homer Jose Altuve at minus 115. Listen, Rhys Hoskins is a streaky hitter, but right now he's on fire. 4 home runs over his last 4 games. He's a power-hitting righty that pulls the ball a lot, and that's perfect for Citizens Bank Park at Minute Maid. He's got the Crawford boxes in Houston, and he has an 850 OPS at home. He's a perfect candidate here to lead the entire World Series in home runs, but I also love him here against Altuve, who's right around league average in barrel rate, bottom 5% in hard hit rate. Altuve hitless in 5 of 7 postseason games thus far. He doesn't really look that comfortable at the plate. So I love Hoskins here. I'm going to ride the hot hand. I'm going to ride the better bat as far as power goes, and I'm taking Hoskins minus 115. My last is a long shot bet, and it's Yuli Gurriel 13-1 to lead the World Series in hits. While he doesn't have the name recognition of Jose Altuve or Alex Bregman, and maybe not the power bat of Kyle Tucker or Yordan Alvarez, Gurriel is a hit machine. He leads Houston with 11 hits over 7 games, and in 30 at-bats, he hasn't struck out or walked once. So he's going to put the ball in play, and that is the perfect recipe to lead the World Series in hits here. I think this game's going to be a little bit longer, but even if it's short, it favors Gurriel. He hits in that bottom of the order, so he's going to be pitched to. So I love him here at 13-1. I'm riding the hot hand. So that's going to be it for me. Bryce Harper, plus 150 out at Kyle Tucker. Rhys Hoskins, minus 115 out homer Jose Altuve. And Yuli Gurriel, 13-1 to lead the World Series in hits. If you want more analysis, I go in depth on the Action Network website in an article breaking down my 3 favorite props. And best of luck on all your plays throughout the World Series. It's going to be a good one.
Let's recap today's picks here on the show. Sean Koerner going with the over prop on Rachaad White rushing yards later tonight. Ravens at Bucks. Rachaad White, of course, backing up Leonard Fournette, but Koerner expects him to beat that rushing prop. Dellera going after De'Aaron Fox in the late game. Kings host the Grizzlies tonight, and DiSturco likes the props for hits on Harper and Hoskins, but he's going on the other side, the Astros, with Yuli Gurriel to have the most hits in the series. Remember, follow us in the Action app at Green Dot Daily's profile to follow all of our picks. One last reminder, Green Dot Daily is presented by BetMGM. Use bonus code ACTION50 to get an exclusive new user offer. Get $50 free on sign up plus a $1,000 risk-free first bet. Only available for Action users. So start betting today with bonus code ACTION50. Guys, that's it. That's all we got. That's all for today's show. Thanks to everyone for watching this edition of Green Dot Daily. Tomorrow, Football Friday, we've got Stuckey, we've got Raybon, we've got Ravel. I'm Jason Sobel. Good luck with all your bets for this week's action. Here's hoping you guys hit the green.